I laugh because if I don't, I'll cry. Like it's that sort of like, oh, typical, of course. And the thing that frustrates me is when you see in Arsenal there is an injury hit. And listen, by the way, I actually think we've had our fair share of luck with injuries. Don't get me wrong, Zinchenko's had a little bit of a spell out. We lost Del Neni for a couple months. We know Smith Rowe hasn't kicked a ball since August. So I'm not saying that everything's been all rosy on the injury front, but largely it's been okay for Arsenal, where Tottenham have had real problems, Liverpool have had some serious problems, Chelsea have as well. So don't get me wrong, we've had our fair share of luck as well on the injury front. But it's almost like, I look back at the end of last season, everyone was really beating us with that whole, you bottle top four, you bottle top four. I was like, sure, there was elements of that. There was also key injuries to key players. And at least the one thing we can say, if there's any tiny little bit of good news in what is all bad news, is this has come before January and there's a chance to maybe address it and not, there's time to maybe try and deal with it. But it just... We know what an outfit we can be when he's fit, and Jesus has been so brilliant for us since we signed him.
Yeah, you can look at it like that, but then you already hearing FFP come up again, and you were on the watch list from the summer, and you look at previous January windows, especially the last one, and the lack of incomings. Yeah, it's before January, but in all honesty, even if the club are proactive and they move to get a striker in, because I think a striker should still have been in the plans. I just don't think it was a priority for January. I think when you look at our two options is not enough. Yeah. And an injury like this proves that point, because now everything's on Eddie. Rightly or wrongly, everything's on Eddie now, and if something was to happen to him, then we are doomed in that sense. We might be doomed already, because Jesus' quality is in this squad irreplaceable, like I said. So yeah, even if we was to go bring in a striker in January, he needs to get used to Arteta, get used to the system. Would hope that he hits the ground running, but it's hard to say whether that'll be the case even if we do move in January. I just think it's a massive blow to us, and I've been happy all season, and I've been very different to seasons gone past in terms of how I've been viewing things, how I've been feeling, how connected I am to the club and the team. It's a massive blow, because I've always maintained that we have to hope for the best, and by hope for the best I meant on the injury front, because that was the only way that, in my opinion, we can sustain this form, this consistency. I won't say title challenge yet, because it's far from that. It's only 14 games, but it's just a hammer blow at probably the worst time, because other teams are going to be looking at it now and thinking they're not the same team without Jesus in there, and they'd be right in thinking and saying that. So it's just, yeah, we can take one pro out of it, and that is it's just before January, a window we can do business in. But I think we already seem to have plans with Mudryk in January, and potentially a midfielder, even though we haven't really been linked that hard. Maybe Danilo is the one we've been linked to most, but no solid links to that. I just don't see us doing the necessary business, whether it's through choice or through regulations and laws from the FFP. I just don't see it being fixed in January. Okay,
let's explore exactly what's been said. It was breaking news that came through Mike McGrath, I believe. Sorry, this is me frantically checking my notes, which I do have. Oh, no, I don't want to add another account. Sorry. Here's me opening everything up. Right. So it comes from the Telegraph.
Why are the Telegraph the ones releasing this as well? Well, how did they manage to get it?
Don't know, Mike McGrath gets quite a lot of Arsenal news. Exclusive. Club could go without Brazil forward for up to several months, depending on healing time after the operation. Arsenal have been dealt a blow, with Gabriel Jesus to undergo surgery on his World Cup knee injury. I can't speak today, sorry. On his World Cup knee injury, and set for a spell on the sidelines. The 25-year-old was injured with suspected medial ligament damage during his country's Group G defeat to Cameroon, ruling him out for the rest of the competition in Qatar and returning to England for assessment. It is understood that he will need an operation to repair the problem, with the time out depending on how he heals, with some players taking months to return to action, meaning he should be a part of Arsenal's title challenge in the second half of the campaign. Will we still be in a title charge?
Yeah, that's a big question. That's leaning a lot more towards not than we will.
He then asks the questions you'd expect to ask. Will this change what Arsenal do in the transfer window? Will this change the priorities? Do we go for more out-and-out number 9, whereas before maybe we were looking at a wide forward who could play up top? I'm thinking the Sadio Mane type profile. He's a Bayern. I'm not saying him, but that kind of player who's always played wide but does a brilliant job up top and that kind of stuff. Brazil coach Tite described suggestions that Jesus was carrying an injury into the Cameroon game as evil lies. He said, "I don't like hearing lies out there. Evil lies. At no point do we play for victory at the risk of a player's peril. The liar who's out there, because that's the name, isn't it? The haters, right? We are responsible, we are personally responsible, we are ethical, and it would never have happened. I didn't want this to happen. It's a shame. We are very sorry for Gabriel Jesus." Now, I have to say, when I heard rumours that he had a bit of an injury going into the World Cup, that did surprise me a little bit. I didn't really fixate on that point for a reason when I was doing these lives and the one with Curtis yesterday, because it didn't really make a lot of sense. Like, he didn't look a player who was struggling at any point. He was playing a lot of Europa League games. I don't remember Arteta bringing him off early and thinking that's strange or trying to manage him in a particular way. He looked, okay, the goal scoring, slowed down a bit, but that was to be expected. We knew he wasn't an out-and-out goal scorer, so that was a strange one. So, Jess from She Knows Arsenal, go check out the channel. She tweeted that it was the same injury as the one Xhaka got in the Tottenham game when we won 3-1 last season, and he was out for about 2 months. He will walk straight back into the 11, by the way. I mean, that guy, I've got to say, when it comes to fitness and injuries, he is a freak of nature. I mean, it's unbelievable. So the midfielder, 29, was ruled out for 3 months in late September after suffering damage to the medial ligament in his right knee during the 3-1 victory. So let me just quickly, we're on investigative work now. Let me just read exactly what, suspected medial ligament damage. Yeah, okay. It sounds like the exact same thing. So, okay, I mean, it could be 2 months if all goes well. What's it, mid-December? He could be back mid-February. Man City,
At
15th
best.
Feb.
Nah, it's not happening. That's not happening.
That is
saying potentially several months out. We're not seeing him again till early March at the earliest, in my opinion.